Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching Cobra Kai Season 1, Episode 3, Esqueleto, I believe. I am very excited to see where this show goes next. I am concerned about Johnny and... just concerned. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. You get that 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance. And let's go! I hate that he's learning to punch at the face. He's such a sweet kid.
Thought about advertising, right? Yeah, duh.
Of course he has. If you have concerns about the person your daughter's dating.
Really gonna trust that Cobra guy over your own daughter?
Okay, good, they have talked about it. That makes me happy.
Not gonna name names, but the other day, a mother called me up because her son was crying after some kids online made fun of his facial deformity.
You've just named names, you bitch!
But today,
we actually decided to go as Laker girls.
Oh.
But maybe we could order another.
They're one size fits all, which suddenly seems like false advertising.
You should not be friends with these people, Samantha. That is not who you are. And if that's who you're becoming...
It's never too late to learn how to kick ass.
Litterer! Do not snoop! You haven't got enough of a reason right now.
I think you'll like it.
He done some proper advertising. Bless him. Bless him. It's not, you know, the 80s anymore. Jesus Christ.
What are you doing? You gotta unlearn that.
He's gonna push you in the pool. This man is crazy. This is not... This is not a good way to teach. Any of how he teaches is not a good way to teach. Like, this is a 15-year-old or whatever. He's not someone that needs to, like, have military-style training.
Shit. Drowning is for pussies, alright? Don't be a pussy. Do you understand? Yes, that's it.
I hate this! Like, even if it's working, he's a child. And Johnny is teaching him all sorts of terrible life lessons. There's nothing wrong with being a princess. Plenty of princesses are very good at fighting.
That leg up, like a man.
Oh dear, they're both here. Never bodes well.
Check out this rat. C-O-M, all lowercase. Thanks.
I mean, has Johnny lived in a hole?
Can we make plans to hang out soon? It's been way too long.
It has, and that's your fault.
Stay salty, my friend.
Oh, I hope she sticks to this. I understand what Sam's going through. It's totally a natural human teenage response.
Sometimes.
Oh yeah, of course. That's what they wore to the dance. Miguel couldn't be the furthest from that, my love. Over the anti-harassment thing. Especially when you're teaching toxic learning how to fight.
I just don't know why you'd ever want to bring back Cobra Kai after what your sensei did to you.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm not Kreese. And the lessons worked.
Strike first. No mercy. Real good lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let you fill these kids' heads.
He shouldn't be doing the same lessons he learned at Cobra Kai because he knows they're toxic.
Help me with the belt.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Trust your daughter.
I was gonna give her this. This was my grandma's. I want to give it to Sam.
Oh.
Sam.
don't.
You have to trust your children. And they might make a mistake and, you know, they might sleep with someone before they're totally ready. But as long as they're consenting to it, it's up to them. Like, let your children make their own life choices and mistakes and be there for them. It's not like he was going to force himself on her. Maybe lurk outside in case he tried. Oh. Samantha, this is the moment you need to make your choice, but I can understand why she wouldn't. Oh, Samantha.
Like that cheap one you gave that East Valley slope.
Oof.
Yeah, it worked on her, so might as well try it again.
Okay.
I'm sorry, dude.
So he is a dodgy guy. Guys like that do use people, but it's up to Samantha to learn from her mistakes. Oh Lord, but don't be as lethal as you've been taught. Oh good, yeah, 3 against 1, that's great. Oh Lord. See, that's why teaching him that up against bullies that are bigger than him, he should attack them like that is not the right answer. A, because violence is never the right answer. It should only be used as defense. If they go to attack him, he should teach him defensive moves just like Mr. Miyagi did to Danny. Press charges! Genuinely, Miguel, press charges. Okay, I am really, really enjoying this show. I get very frustrated with Johnny because I can see that, like, in so many ways he's repeating the mistakes that were done to him. And, like, you can see that there are points where he gets it. He gets the truth. He understands that, like, he's having a positive influence on this boy and he could do it the right way. And then he's just like, don't be a pussy, be a man. And you're like, well, you learn nothing. He frustrates me a lot. And I think something they're doing really well is, you know, Daniel is not perfect either. He makes mistakes. He's, you know, jumping to conclusions with Johnny and Cobra Kai that maybe he doesn't have currently the foundation for, although it does say no mercy on the wall, which isn't a good policy because, you know, in this instance, it's pumped Miguel up, so he thought, I'm gonna bait these guys with my karate, and yes, he got 1 kick away, but then they beat him up. You know, 1 against many is not gonna work unless you're like a master of karate compared to them. But if he had taught him more defensive methods, maybe he could have got away from them. You know, there are different things to do, and it should be done for the, like, the way he's teaching him to strike first, aim for the head and all that kind of thing. I hate it, and his language is awful. And, like, Johnny has clearly lived in a cave since the last time we saw him in one of the movies. He somehow managed to go out, get married, get divorced and have a kid in that time. But he's been living in a cave because he still acts like that pumped up kid. He's very much the epitome of the guy that peaked in high school. I would like this show to kind of show the growth of his character. I think it would be interesting if over the course of this season, I know that I've got 4 seasons scheduled because by the time before I'm done reacting to the first 3 seasons, season 4 will have aired. Over the course of that time, I assume it's still about Johnny doing Cobra Kai because, like, it's called Cobra Kai. I hope he's learnt some lessons and is maybe less toxic and is just genuinely trying to be there for the kids he's training and trying to be there for him. Miguel is trying his best. He is a very, very sweet boy. That's one thing I don't want him to lose, that sweetness through Johnny's training. Now, I think Johnny was a dick child. You know, Johnny was Kyler. And then he got Cobra Kai training. So hopefully Miguel will be fine and will teach his sensei some lessons. And, you know, if Johnny was doing it a little bit differently, I would be really hoping they got some new members. But as things stand, no thank you. High school is brutal, and I can't even imagine... I mean, I say high school is brutal. My experience of the UK system, we didn't have anything like the mean girl popular crowd and the geeks and being bullied. You know, we had, I went to an all-girls school, we had the group of girls that thought they were the popular kids, but everybody else couldn't stand them and didn't want, there was none of that, I want to be them. You know, there was obviously instances of bullying, kids are brutal, but the way American high schools are portrayed, something needs to be done. And they say things like, oh, well, if you step in and stop the bully, they don't learn anything. Or this, well, no, if you're severe enough on the bullying, because, you know, if this escalates, that could lead to Samantha's friend, is it Aisha? I think that's her name, I'm not sure, taking her life, or, you know, getting severely depressed. It could affect her for the rest of her life. And I think Samantha is really reaching a point where there's only so much she can sit back and take before she becomes not just an enabler but an active participant in this. And, you know, awful as it... Now, I want to say her friend is beautiful and could be sexy in any number of ways if she wasn't, like, 14. When she's older, like, this being bigger does not mean you cannot be attractive. I mean, that's something I try and teach myself every day because, yes, weight is an issue. But in terms of high school and what it means to be part of the popular crowd, you basically have to be a stick thin and pretty to be able to be friends with those bitchy girls. And so Samantha and Aisha were friends. I'm sorry if that isn't her name, it was something like that, I think. And Samantha, who is very pretty, traditionally very thin, luckily, she can just blend right into that group, and it's fine. if her friend tried to do that too, they would reject her. And I think Samantha needs to learn that while to an extent, yes, she's kind of going in, she's getting the comfort and the security of being in that group so she's not being picked on rather than being a geeky person. But I do hope ultimately at some point she makes the right choice before it gets too late or before something even worse happens. You know, right now she should be walking away from those bitchy girls saying that wasn't right and going to comfort her friend, and that is not what she's doing. But I don't hate her because she's 14, 15 if in the first year of high school. She is very, very young. She's still figuring out who she is, and the idea of popularity politics and trying to protect yourself, and like if she goes after her, all that's going to mean is she's a target and all that kind of thing, I can understand. And so I don't hate Samantha, I just think for her own well-being and her own sake and her friend's sake, I hope she snaps out of it soon. Kyla is a very stereotypical brat, but I think something Danny needs to do is trust his kids, especially the teenager, trust that he's taught her enough, trust that the lessons he's taught her throughout life have been enough that she's got her wits about her and she won't do anything she doesn't want to do, and she'll think first, you know. And if he's genuinely concerned that things are going too fast with Kyla or anything like that, he should sit down with her and talk about it. And, you know, it's awkward. Maybe the mother could do it if she would find it less awkward that way. I don't know. I just think having a really open relationship, which they have, and then he just doesn't trust her and leaps in, which is, he's very impulsive, very Danny, but, you know, he just needs to trust her more, because now, him kind of being this helicopter-y parent, she's more likely to pull away from him and to not go to him with problems and things because she thinks he overreacts all the time. Danny and Johnny still hate each other, and to be honest, I don't blame Danny for the reaction he has to the idea of Cobra Kai coming back, because they put him through hell. They taught, like, you know, they did what's happening to Miguel to him. They were just, disgusting. And then the coach, like, attacking Johnny or whatever, the coach was brutal, he was toxic, he instilled those kids with a toxic mentality that Johnny still hasn't fully shaken off. And that's why I really hope it gets stopped, or at least they change the mentality of it, you know. I understand why he has this absolute visceral, like, no reaction, but I also think that doesn't get anywhere with Johnny. That just makes Johnny put his walls up, that makes Johnny double down with how he's teaching, and it's a mess. So yeah, this was another really, really good episode. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. You get that 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and thank you for watching.